Hello guys and welcome to my Dragonknight healer build for PvP updated for the Deadlands patch. This has actually been some quite coming. I've been changing this build and working on it yet again and again. I think I've changed it at least 4 different times, but I'm pretty happy with the result now. So let's dive right into characteristics. So for the attributes, we are putting everything into max magicka. Since we are an Imperial, we have 2k extra health and 2k extra stamina, which enables us to put everything into max magicka to get our magicka up to at least 29. Well, it says 28.8, but really on your character sheet it will say 29. Keep in mind that my jewelry is not golded and it's an arcane, so if you have your jewelry golded you will be sitting comfortably at 30k maximum magicka. For the food, we are yet again using longfish pastry with melon sauce. You can also use bewitched sugar skull. I don't use it for conveniency since it appears to be bugged at the moment. Which means every time you have a loading screen, your bars, like, you will have the buff food on, but your bars just go slow, and it messes up with my resource management, so I'd rather just use longfish pasty. But bewitched sugar skulls is also, like, it's the recommended food that will give you the most health, magicka and stamina. Our Mundus stone is the Atro, which increases our magicka recovery by almost 4. At base, it's 300. We have a bit more since we're playing on a few pieces divine. And our curse is Vampire stage 3 for the undead passive. Now let's go into the sets. For the sets on the front bar, I am still wearing the Prefected Master Restoration staff. It's just one of these stuffs I usually try as much as I can to integrate in my build because the resource return is just so good. It gives you back maximum a little bit of magicka and a little bit of stamina whenever you put your healing springs down, which is one of your main heals anyways. It will help a lot with resource management for yourself and for allies. On the back bar, since we are playing on a set that is backbarred, we are playing with Brands of Imperium. The axe is in defending and the shield is in sturdy for the reduce of block cost. For the monster set, we are obviously playing with Bloodspawn. This is pretty much a Dragonknight's bread and butter. The head is in heavy divine Tristar and the shoulder is in medium maximum magicka impenetrable. The reason is so we can have the most of our undaunted passive, since the shoulder is going to be our only medium piece and it's in impenetrable. What it does, it gives us a little bit of max stamina, and whenever we take damage we generate 13 ultimate and increase our physical and spell resistances by 3k for 5 seconds every 5 seconds, which means every 5 seconds you can potentially, when you're in the heavy fighting, gain 13 ultimate. This is huge for Dragonknight and it's the main reason we are playing it, and also since this build is a little bit more of a brawler build, meaning you will stay in the fight way longer than I would with a warden or a nightblade or even a necromancer. We need this, we need the resistances. It's a big help, but mostly we play it for the ultimate resource. On the body, we are wearing 2 pieces of Brands of Imperium to have our 3 pieces heavy on the body, which is the chest and the legs. Both are from Brands of Imperium. Both are heavy and divines, with the other 2 pieces of the set being the sword and board, so it makes 2 more pieces, and the 5th piece is going to be the necklace. What Brands of Imperium does, it gives us twice maximum health, so it's helping with having a health sitting comfortably at 32k. It gives us on the back bar, since we single bar this, 4% more healing taken. And whenever we take damage, we gain for ourselves and for our group members within 8 meters, which is what makes this healer a bit more of a brawler. A damage shield that absorbs up to 12k damage for 6 seconds. This can occur every 6 seconds. It says 12k, but this will be reduced to at least 6k, more or less. Still, a 6k shield in Cyrodiil is pretty insane. It will help keeping your group alive a lot, and it will help keeping them in the fight and keeping them going. And the second set we're wearing is a Daring Corsaire. This is a craftable set from Southren Elsewyr. It requires 3 trades to craft, but you can find it pretty much in any guild hall that has all the stations, or you can just go to Southren Elsewyr. I'll put at the end of the video, I'll show you where you can craft it. If you don't have access to the DLC though, it's okay, you can pretty much just ask a crafter or get it in any guild hall really. And what it does, it gives us maximum stamina, stamina recovery, magicka recovery, critical chance on the 4th piece. The 5th piece reduces the cost of our weapon ability by 10%, being magicka or stamina, so we have a global reduction of 10% of all of our weapon skills. And after casting a weapon ability, we gain minor heroism for 8 seconds, generating 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds while in combat. This effect can occur every 8 seconds. Our Daring Corsaire pieces, which are the belt, the hands and the shoes, are all in light and penetrable, so that we have our body pieces being 3 heavy, 3 light, 1 medium. For the jewelry, we are wearing obviously 1 piece of Brands of Imperium to have our 5 piece on the back bar. The necklace is in heavy, and the enchantment is magicka recovery, is in healthy. And for the Daring Corsaire, both rings are in arcane with magicka recovery. If you feel like your magicka recovery is not enough, you can probably infuse one of the 2 rings. But that's up to you really. I'm comfortable with 2k recovery on the back bar and 1.9 on the front bar, but if you need a bit more, you can obviously infuse it, but I don't think it's necessary, since our ultimate generation will be strong enough to keep us going, because Dragonknight relies on ultimate generation in order to have recovery. So for the skills, on the front bar we are wearing Blessings of Restoration, which is our AoE. It's not really a burst heal as much as it goes, but it's our strongest area effect heal really, and it gives us minor resolve, increasing our physical and spell resistances. Then we obviously have Rapid Regen and Illustrious Healing. Illustrious Healing we need it for Master Restoration. Rapid Regen is our spammable heal. These 3 first skills being Restoration staff skills, all 3 of them will proc the Daring Corsaire minor heroism buff, and since they're pretty much are spammables, you'll use these skills within 7 seconds, so minor heroism will always be up. And our restoration stuff being indecisive, every half a second when we're gaining ultimate, we're actually gonna gain another ultimate. Our fourth skill is Energy Ore. I pretty much have it on almost all my builds at this point. It's just It's too good not to have. It gives us a big heal and it fits in pretty much any group composition. You could, I guess, potentially swap it for talons if you need less healing, or if your group is okay with having a bit of less healing. You could swap it for burning talons for the maim and another synergy. But for what I'm doing, I really like having energy or better. Our fourth skill is fragmented shields. This mostly helps us with having major mending for 6 seconds. And if you want to really increase your heal when you know your group's about to take heavy damage, I'd recommend using fragmented shield and straight after blessings of restoration. Your healing is gonna be way stronger and it's gonna help a lot with keeping people alive. Our ultimate is obviously reviving barrier, this time on the front bar, since we are playing with magma shell on the back bar. On the back bar we are having cauterize. This is pretty much like the ghost I have on my necromancer. It's kind of a cast and forget skill. I like having it up just to have every 5 seconds the proc from cauterize and have a bit of extra heal. At least that's how I use it. It's pretty much a cast and forget. It's a nice emergency heal on the back bar, but I don't use it as my main heal. I usually just have it up all the time just to have the extra healing incoming. Our second skill is Protective Plate. This reduces the damage from projectiles by 50%, and it also gives us an immunity to snares, which actually helps us going out of snares without having to use mist form, so we can go out of snares and keep healing. If you don't feel comfortable with using Protective Plate, or if you want to have a way to proc Daring Corsaire on the back bar, I would also recommend using Defensive Stance instead of Wings, but we are Dragonknight and Wings are in my opinion superior to Defensive Stand. But I will still showcase you the skill. It's in one hand and shield, and it's the morph, the first morph from defensive posture, which will reflect back 1 projectile, and it will also increase your blocking mitigation by 10%. So you can also just have it slotted and not really use it. Have it for the blocking mitigation, I suppose. That's another possibility you can have instead of playing Protective Plate. Our third skill on the back bar is Hardened Armor. It's obviously our armor buff. It gives us major resolve for 20 seconds. We also gain a small damage shield that absorbs 5, and in Cyrodiil it's more gonna be like 2k, 3k shield, so damage absorb, and it also returns 1k, so 500 in Cyrodiil, damage to any enemy attacking us pretty much. So we give them a little bit of taste of their own medicine. That's a nice change. Then we have Elusive Mists. I guess I don't really need to explain. This is our get out of jail mobility tool. It helps so much with keeping movement going. Even if we're Dragonknight and we're not mobile, it will still require, like, if you don't have it, it's just gonna be so much of a penalty. It also helps soaking in big incoming damage when you're being heavily outnumbered. And with being a Dragonknight, what you can also do is it will keep your Brands of Imperium proccing since it's on the back bar. It lays over your health. Even if you want mist form and you can't heal, you will still get the shields. And the other nice thing is with our Battle Roar passive, if you're in mist form and you're getting pretty low, which is the reason why we have magma, you can just use your ultimate and you will go out of mist, heal up. But since magma shell is reducing our damage to 3% of our maximum health, it will actually just it will keep us going, and we have insane mitigation for 12 seconds, which after this time we can heal up and still keep going with Mist Form. So you can pretty much, like, it's very unique to Dragonknight, but you can sip your Magicka dry on Mist Form and then just turn around and Magma Shell and you'll be good. That's very, very unique to Dragonknight, and it's something that does take getting used to. You won't really need to line of sight as much as you would with another healer. You still do need to line of sight, but you can play way more aggressive with Dragonknight than you could with any other heal. Our last skill is Cinderstorm. With the changes to Dragonknight, this now costs us 300 Magicka per second, which is, it's insane. You could potentially also bring it down to almost 0 if you decide to go with one cost reduction instead of going with Magicka recovery and the jewelry, since you see my cost is at 300 and I'm already Vampire stage 3. So you can bring it down to almost 10 Magicka per second or something like that. It's crazy. It's still a very good heal over time, since it still lasts for 80 seconds. And it also reduces the movement speed of enemies walking in it by 70%, so it's very effective on chokes, doors, or if you're kiting you can just put it around the corner, which is why I have it here. Put it around the corner, it will heal you up and it will slow the enemy down. And our ultimate, obviously, as I just explained, is Magma Shell. It's the strongest mitigation in the game, and I have it on the back bar for the sake of using it in combination with Mist Form when I'm getting heavily outnumbered. The other nice thing is, when it's active, nearby allies gain a damage shield of it's 150% of the max health without Cyrodiil, but in Cyrodiil it's more gonna be like 40% for 12 seconds. But the good thing is it says allies and not group members, so if you're solo or if there's randoms around you, you can still help them with magma, which you can't with barrier, because barrier is group members only now. For the champion points, well, you can pretty much ignore the greens, it's just whatever I like having, which is Master Gaffer at this time, Gifted Rider, War Mount to have my fast horse. I guess you could go with Liquid Efficiency for the potion and Rationeer for the duration of your food if you want to, but green you can just pretty much ignore. On Warfare, it's the same as I have on literally every single healer. It's Duralist Rebuff, reduces our single target damage by 10%. Ironclad reduces the damage taken from direct attacks by 10%. Resilience for the crit resistances, and Unassailable for the area of effect mitigation by another 10%. It's, yeah, for defensive CP. That's what I use as default at the moment, and at least in Cyrodiil. For the red CP we have a Slippery, which gives us a break free at no cost every 21 seconds. This is still a huge help for stamina management. We have Expert Evasion, another big tool for stamina management, which gives us one free roll dodge every 30 seconds. We have Shield Master, which reduces the cost of our damage shield by 10% global. It's 2% per stage, 5 brackets. And Bastion, which increases the effectiveness of our damage shield. And our damage against shield by 3% per stage, and it's a total of 15% if I'm not mistaken. These two passives will help us a lot with having a magma shell up, because if you can see, my barrier is supposed to cost 250 ultimate, and right now with my CP and my Imperial passives, it costs me less than it would without being a vampire. If being a vampire, it costs me 270, and right now it costs me 229. Same with Magma Shell. My Magma Shell is dirt cheap, it costs me 200 ultimate. If you put this together with our decisive Master's restoration stuff, and our constant gaining of ultimate through Bloodspawn and daring Corsaire, I can guarantee that you can almost Magma Shield on cooldown, or at least when one expires you'll be on your way to getting another one, which is what will keep you going really. It will both keep you healthy and it will help a lot with sustain. It's a bit like my Nightblade really, where you use your ultimate as soon as you have it. That's how you sustain on Dragonknight. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me for this build. I will probably post some gameplay video as well, so it becomes a bit more clear on how I'm doing things, but the most important is, I guess, we having this option to have one healing bar, and we can swap to being more tanky and defensive with a back bar and Brands of Imperium. And really something you'd have to get used to is, while you have Magma Shell up, you can face tank things, so your job is also to get these nice Imperium procs off and just sit in people's face when you can to protect your allies. It's not only healing, like once your hots are down, you can just walk up in people's face and stop them from pretty much killing your allies. That's what you do. You have, with this build, you definitely have the tankiness to do so. And another, one last thing before I wrap it up, I haven't talked about for this build. We are playing as Imperial. The reason for this is mostly for the red diamond passive. It reduces the cost of all our abilities by 6%. It's pretty much just, it's Breton but for everything. It's Breton but for tanks if you want. Imperial Metal gives us 2k stamina, it's helping, and Tough gives us 2k max health, which enables us to sit at 32k max health really. But Red Diamond is the reason why we are Imperial for this race. Other races could probably be Nord for the ultimate generation when you're getting hit, since you can get hit with this build, you literally sit in people's face. Another race, if you don't want to play Nord, is I guess Breton. Breton is still the most versatile healer slash Magicka DPS race for PvP. If you don't want to be an Imperial, you can also be a Breton. But what I really like with Imperial is it also, Red Diamond passive also impacts my blocking. Where is it? As you see, my blocking cost is very, very cheap. It impacts my blocking, my dodge rolling, sprint. It impacts a lot more than just my skills, which is why I decided to go Imperial, to have this sneaky blocking reduction. Like, it's not written anywhere, but blocking mitigation is part of ability, same as sprinting and roll dodging, which is the reason why we are Imperial for this build. And yeah, I think this is pretty much it. I hope you will have fun. If you have any questions on how this is working, or things you want me to explain more in detail, don't hesitate to ask. And see you in the next one. Bye bye!